I'm here representing A.J. Gibson, who was a prominent historical architect in the early 1900s here in Missoula, and designed some of the major buildings in Missoula, as well as down to Hamilton and up north to Polson. He was born in 1862 in Ohio, came from a rural community, mainly grew up on a farm, doing a lot of building, a lot of craftsman type work. Had a 6th grade education, and then decided to come out to Butte, Montana in 1885, which is the right date there. He came to Butte and worked for a carpenter at that time, and then later worked in with a couple different firms, the Patterson firm and another firm that he was involved with as an architect, and started designing buildings. He met his wife, Maud Lockley, who was the daughter of the owner of the Butte Enterprise newspaper in Butte, and then they moved here in 1889, and he started his practice here in Missoula. Some of the major buildings that he was involved with, of course, are the Missoula County Courthouse, which is 1908, the University Hall, which is 1897, and then the Venture Center, which was 1898, which was torn down a number of years ago for where the Honors College is right now. Some of the other buildings, the Psychology Building, 1908, and up there at the university, and the Math Building, which was the old women's dormitory, that was part of that whole circle up on the university campus during that period. Some of the other buildings that he was involved in, of course, was the building, or the first part of Hellgate High School in 1908, as well as the University Apartments, which is just across from Hellgate High School. They were called flats at that time, and he designed those also. Those were A.J. Gibson buildings. He was involved in a lot of homes around Missoula. His own home is at 402 South 2nd West. It was a Victorian home that he remodeled and turned it into more of the craftsman style home that you see there today. He was involved in the Valley County Courthouse, of course, in the early 1900s, as well as the Daly Mansion down in Hamilton. And the May House, I don't know if you know that, in Stevensville was another one of his houses, but he had houses all over western Montana as well as here in Missoula. The other major two houses that he did were the Dixon House, which was one of our one of our governors. That's where the Knights of Columbus, or the Chalice of Repose, is now on Pine Street, and then also the John R. Toole House, which is the Kappa Kappa Gamma House on Gerald Avenue there. He quit his practice, or retired in 1909, and decided to, he liked automobiles, so he bought one of the first automobiles, and just loved it so much that he actually went to New York on a trip, and decided that cars were his thing, so he started working with cars, and I guess some say racing. I don't know if he actually did that or not, but really had stopped his practice. However, Ole Bakke, who was the architect that came into his practice in the early 1900s there, took over the practice, and then from what we found is that A.J. Gibson did a lot of things with Bakke after that, one being the Wilma in 1921. He helped with that building, the fairgrounds buildings and the teens out at where the fairgrounds is, the commercial building, and the other building next to it there. And then also was involved in a lot of the different structures throughout the area that Ole Bakke was involved in. He helped with that. Unfortunately, he died in a train car wreck on December 31st, 1927. He was heading out this way along where Broadway is, and crossing the tracks kind of over in this area on what was Dakota Street at the time. And he didn't see the train, and the Northern Pacific freight train collided with the car and killed both of them instantly. So his death was untimely, and probably would have been involved in a lot more architecture up into the later years, but unfortunately he passed away at that time, and a lot of other architects then took over the practice and did some of the buildings, or worked on some of the buildings even that he had worked on as additions and things like that. So, any questions? Or, oh, I just want to say one thing. The gravestone here was designed by his wife, Maud. She decided that rather than have a smooth granite face stone like you see in some of these other ones here, that they wanted it more rusticated. So she added in the will that the main stone as well as the two gravestones should be rusticated granite. So they actually chipped it back so it looked more like a boulder out in the natural area rather than the more polished stones that you see here. So, okay. Sure, thank you.